friends. Every week we work very hard to bring you a spine-chilling animated horror story. So if you're enjoying our stories here on the Hunter Code channel, please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notifications for our latest videos. David was a very talented travel writer. He loved traveling to different countries around the world. Recently, David had come to the Philippines, one of the most beautiful countries in Southeast Asia. As soon as he arrived, David started exploring the famous spots in the Philippines. He had heard a lot about the beautiful villages in the country. After visiting a few small cities and villages, David reached a very tiny village on the Visayan Islands. The place was incredibly beautiful and the people were very friendly. One day, David was sitting by the river when he saw a woman wearing the traditional Filipino hat called salakot, filling a bucket with water by the riverside. David wanted to take some human portrait photos for his blog. So he started clicking pictures of her. Suddenly, while she was collecting water, her hat fell off. And when David saw her face, he was mesmerized. She was extraordinarily beautiful, more beautiful than anyone he had ever seen. David couldn't take his eyes off her face. But the moment he clicked her photo, the woman noticed him. Realizing he was taking her picture, she got very nervous, quickly covered her face with the hat, threw her bucket aside and ran away from there. David felt bad, thinking he had made her uncomfortable. The day ended and he returned to the only hotel in that small village. He was exhausted and fell asleep immediately. While he was in deep sleep, he suddenly felt someone breathing near his face. When he opened his eyes, his heart skipped a beat. A woman was sitting beside his bed, her face covered with a Filipino hat. Only her lips were visible. David jumped out of bed in shock and stood near the door, asking her who she was. The woman didn't respond and just sat there. When David asked again, she suddenly turned her neck toward him and began laughing in a very creepy way. Her lips were pitch black and David saw long, rotten, sharp teeth in her smile. Terrified, David threw a water kettle at her. She screamed loudly. Suddenly, two wings emerged from her back and she started flying. David saw that her lower body was missing, and blood was dripping from her half-cut, floating body. She flapped her wings violently and shattered the window as she flew away. David was completely shaken by what he had just seen. He immediately called the hotel reception and told them everything. Some hotel staff rushed to his room. Seeing the fear in his eyes, they knew exactly what had happened. They told him that the creature he had just encountered was a Manananggal, an evil spirit or witch who has the power to separate her upper body from the lower half and fly. A long tongue can suck the blood out of strong men, pregnant women, and children. Hearing all this, David was deeply disturbed. He had never believed in such things before, but what he saw was beyond explanation. The old hotel manager gave David some salt, crushed garlic, and ash pouches, telling him that if the Manananggal comes again, he should throw these at her, as these things are said to burn her body. The hotel also gave him a different room closer to the staff. And David went to bed, trembling in fear. The next day, David started asking the villagers about the Manananggal. They told him that someone was being attacked by her almost every other day. 13 people had already died in the past month, including 6 pregnant women and 4 children. The villagers believed that the Manananggal was a girl named Mia, who lived in the village, and they wanted to kill her, but no one had the courage to confront her. David decided to check for himself and went to Mia's house. He knocked on her door. At first, no one came. The villagers' words began to affect his mind, and he started wondering if he had just walked straight into danger. Suddenly, the door opened and David was shocked and embarrassed. Mia was the same woman he had seen by the river. Up close, she looked even more beautiful. Before David could say anything, Mia said, "Please delete my photo. I don't like strangers keeping my pictures." David apologized and began asking her about the Manananggal. Hearing this, Mia started crying. She told him everything, how she had fallen in love with a village boy named Kidlat, her childhood friend. But on the day of their wedding 3 weeks ago, Kidlut was attacked and killed by a Manananggal. The villagers blamed MIA for his death and kicked her out of the village. Now pregnant with Kidlut's baby, she lived in fear. David apologized and told her he now believed she was not the Manananggal. They talked for a long time, and over the next few days, they grew very close. David fell deeply in love with MIA and decided he would take her and her baby back to Canada and care for them. They planned to leave the village the next night. Around 10 p.m. the next night, David was on his way to MIA's house when he saw something flying and disappearing into the sky near the jungle. Curious, he stopped and started walking toward the jungle. Suddenly, he tripped over something. When he looked down, he was horrified to see the lower half of a woman's body lying on the ground, twitching. He immediately realized it belonged to the Manananggal. Panicking, David checked his pockets and realized he had forgotten the protective pouches of salt, garlic, and ash in the hotel room. Just then, he heard MIA scream from nearby. He ran to her house. The door was open. Inside, the sight froze him in terror. The Manananggal was sitting there, biting MIA's neck, tearing her body apart, and drinking her blood. Her sharp claws were pierced into MIA's pregnant belly. David screamed MIA's name. The Manananggal looked at him with rage and attacked with her long tongue. Before David could react, she pulled out MIA's dead baby from her womb and flew away. David tried to help MIA, but she was already dead. After this horrific event, everyone realized that MIA was not the Manananggal. David returned to Canada, heartbroken and traumatized. But it's unlikely that he'll ever be able to forget the Manananggal. Don't forget to subscribe our channel.